What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Red Feather once again, and today, welcome to part 2 of my final reviews of the updates, or concepts, whichever one. And so we have ourselves the second one, the Forgotten Factory. Certainly think this one will be, this is actually the first event that comes after the first one, which if you've seen part 1, I'll put a link to that in the description. But let's not waste any time. Let's get to it. So, continuing on trend, we have the new robot, the Vulture. Now, to go ahead and give a bit of history, I love this thing so much. Well, it's one of my top 5 favorite concepts I've worked on. I also, I used this in Freddy's creativity giveaway for a Shenmue, and this was the robot that I used and won with. So clearly, the Vulture has a bit of place in my heart for letting me win that giveaway. I don't know if it was just that, but I'm still at least happy. Thanks, Freddy. Still love you, man. Let's get to it. So for this one will be Yandy. That's not the faction. Yandy's take on flying technology has come out far better than they expected with the creation of Vulture. To explain this, this was done before the Ulfian, which can fly, but it was weird to me that Yandy had so many robots, yet not one of them was able to fly, which I thought was strange. And yes, the Ulfian exists, like I said, but this was made way before way before the Ulfian. So, yeah. Although it isn't on the full defensive side of combat, but like any true predator, Vulture awaits for the right opportunity to strike. I could have worded this slightly better, but that's how it's going to be. And then we get the ability Disengage. The robot jumps backwards and emits an electromagnetic shockwave that applies the static effect to any robot caught within the pulse, shutting down their weapon systems. Vulture also activates a stealth system while airborne and stays stealth for 4 extra seconds after landing. Now you may notice it jumps backwards, not just jump regardless. Yes, I get it. The Pacigliari exists and has its backwards jump, but this was, like I said before, the Alphion, this was made way before that. And I thought it would be interesting to see a robot that could jump backwards, aside from a giant sniper that feels a way too powerful to be one. And that here's the static effect, disables the enemy's weapon systems. Now, when G-Man had a look at this, I agreed this is what EMP should have done, but EMP is already as solid and good as it is, so I think it's best to just have this as its own unique effect. Because can you imagine if you get both EMP and static on your robot at once? Yeah, you basically can't fight back. You just have to pray you can outrun them. The 16-second cooldown, like the Arbiter from part 1, 200 meters ability range. That's the ability range is specifically the electromagnetic shockwave. There's a 9-second duration. I could make it 11, but I feel like that's a bit ridiculous. So I felt like 9 seconds should be fine. The ability damage is 4,372. Not too much, since the whole thing, the shockwave is not supposed to do as much damage. It's primarily because of the static effect, which is a 3.5-second duration. 5 seconds would work, but I've decided on this. It's at 90,500 HP. Not too high, but certainly not too low. And then, unlike the Arbiter, I did not put the miles per hour mistake, so I put the correct one. So 44, so it's a bit fast. The Saboteur class, this essentially is like a stronger emoji to a degree. It's a hard points, it's 2 medium and 1 light. Again, same firepower as the emoji, because I like the emoji and find it very underrated. Screw the Condor, my homies use the emoji. Default weapons, 2 Talambas and a pin, obviously. Recommended equipment, 2 Typhoon and a Drizzle, or 2 Havoc and a Scatter. The Sonics, once again, love the things. The Howler and Screamer are pretty nice, but they're whatever. And then the Typhoon and Drizzle are the new weapons that go with it, which we'll get to in just a second. And it says here Typhoon, not the Typhon. The Typhoon is sort of like an electrical storm for out in the sea. I could be wrong on that, but eh. Here are the new weapons with the Drizzle. Now, you may notice the corporation is both Yandy and DSC. That's because the DSC, this is at the Drizzle and the other two weapons are a multi-faction weapon, but only for Yandy and DSC, as it says here. And the DSC part here is going to be is going to be referencing something later in the future. And here we go. An electric weapon system that electrocutes enemies with a strange static flow, which means this thing is essentially the Snare, Scotty, and Hell, but with actual electricity, not a a wave of frost. After a certain number of hits, the target suffers from a static effect, which shuts down weapon systems. Now, these weapons apply the static effect, like the Vulture with its shockwave button weapon form. And to those, no, these are not the Tesla guns, but with a much further range. These were made before the Tesla guns. I made the Drizzle and Vulture in around 2021. So that's a bit of an accomplishment. Shell type plasma slush energy. I'm pretty sure these are suggestively the same thing, but it was a bit of trouble. There's a 1624, not very high, but the somewhat low damage is to accompany the static effect. And unlike the Vulture, the static effect is a 5-second duration with a 5-second reload time. There's effect accumulation, blah blah blah, and the light slot. The reload time is that, like the Tesla guns we got now, the Drizzle, Typhoon, and the heavy weapon all have a magazine. And here are the Typhoon, unchanged with except damage and accumulation for the medium slot. And then here's the heavy one, the Gigavolt. It was the original name was going to be Thunderstorm, but the fact that Thunderstorm is a combination of two weapons that already exist in game, I felt like that was a little dumb, so I thought Gigavolt was a good option. And 33731, it's pretty high. Accumulation, blah blah blah, we know that. And here's the pilot, Matt Andrew for the Vulture. Dark Shroud. This is meant to be like a no, not female. That sounded weird. Sort of like a male counterpart to Ash Skarsgård for the Scorpion. And for a pilot, will be shown very, very, very later. So while in flight, Vulture cannot be targeted but from robots that have used a quantum radar. This may sound specific, but hear me out. So essentially, one of the more common things Pixonic likes to put on a legendary pilot's main skill is they like to the robot activates just like an active module, like the Nether pilot Everett allows the robot the Nether to have shield breaker once every time it uses the ability, and the Orpheum pilot Elizabeth Green lets it use a quantum radar while in flight. So because there are so many of those, and also the Yang Li pilot for the Aojun, but it's all over the place on the Ultimate Aojun. So yeah, that's essentially what Matt does. It's just allow the Vulture to be untargetable even if someone uses a quantum radar or quantum sensor. And now here's the new piece of content, the new Mothership, the Infection. Now it may notice that it has the Yandy Corporation when motherships in the main game don't have a said corporation sometimes in the description. But I was like, hey, they gave the corporations to the weapons. Why don't I give it to the Infection and to a tiny degree the drones, which we'll get to it a bit later. So, a mothership responsible for the plague spreading around the planet. You may call me diabolical, but this is supposed to be a reference to COVID-19, all the way back in 2020. But I thought it would be I thought it was diabolical when I decided to write this, but I'm so sorry, y'all. Conjure a plague at will only if the ship is fully charged. Yeah, I was a little lazy when writing some of the parts down. Spread death and decay wherever you go. Even the most protected robots won't be safe from such corrosive aura. And that should tell you what this mothership does. And here's the ability: Unstable Outbreak. After a small delay, the ship drops a plague zone that infects anyone that stands in it, affecting both rust and rot, along with a massive dot effect. We'll get to we all know what rust and dot do, but rot is a bit different. I'm not going to explain that yet. That will go to a future episode. But here's the little gimmick. If anyone infected by this dies, the virus spreads to all other enemies in a 200-meter range. Now, to those curious, the robot has to die while having the dot effect for it to spread. If, say, like, you have the dot fully goes away and your robot dies, no, it won't spread if it's destroyed. It does, the mothership itself does damage, but very little. But you may notice the insane dot damage here. I will need to adjust it because it's essentially like the trickster and deceiver, where the mothership does very little damage but deals monster DOT. I don't know if this mothership will be good if it ever comes to the live server, but it's certainly interesting. And all the effects have an 8-second duration. There's a charge speed modifier, 0, and 3 attack turrets for the selection. Might be a little ridiculous, but I'm just seeing what you guys think. Recommended equipment: a gravity amplifier and 2 laser blast cannons. They are specific, but I don't know what else to think about without making this thing a little too powerful. I could think 3 sonic bomb cannons, which were released this recent update, could make this thing a little powerful, but they might not compensate for the low damage this thing does. And here we have a new turret, the antidote station, for support. Could make it protection, but I felt like it suits more for support. Support turret, yeah. Automatically removes the effects of dot, rust, and rot from your robot and provides you with long-term immunity from all 3 effects. So this is essentially the anti-jamming support that already exists, but for these 3 specific effects. The 2-second strike and 15-second duration. I could make it 30 seconds, especially since these effects are very specific, except the rot effect, which is one of my new effects that I made. But whatever. And here we have the new paint job, as always, the Flesh Ripper paint job. It may sound out of place, but come on, it's a Vulture. I think this would suit best. And here's the title. The Forgotten Factory will give you the Mad Scientist title. It's a scientist lab thingy. The title is very, very, very fitting. And here's the new little thingy, the special editions. Every update has to have a special edition. So with the Arbiter is the mutated Arbiter, as it says here. Forgotten Factory is so you won't be confused, because future events I gave some robots that I already made special editions when they already got one. Which, spoilers for later, the Arbiter and the Shotguns all got their own a second special edition for another event. And the Mauler, the Mangler, Armageddon, and Ravager got the Infected to make them stand out a bit more compared to the Mutation for the Arbiter. And so on, so on. So yeah. Hello, few seconds later, me here. Turns out when I was trying to write out everything for the Forgotten Factory, I accidentally forgot about the new drone added. But here it is. We have the Parasite. Now, yes, I know. One of the Leech paint jobs is also called the Parasite. But come on. Pixonic made 3 different pieces of content in the game. The same thing with the Hornet. They made the weapon. Oh no, not the weapon. Wrong one. But yeah, the Wasp weapon, and the Wasp drone. Those 2 have the same name. The Wasp paint. Gosh dang it. Well, whatever. If Pixonic can do that, so can I. So yeah, Parasite for Icarus. This was a drone that's supposed to go with the Arbiter, but I felt like its theme should go with the Forgotten Factory. And yeah, just like the Mothership, I gave the drones their own specific faction. This little drone may seem harmless on the outside, but it is the cause of a pandemic on the inside. Once again, Another diabolical reference to COVID-19, but I'm so sorry. I felt like we needed to have a diabolical meme or something in here. Icarus Technologies created a drone that can infect robots with ease thanks to the quick fire technology of its built-in weapon. Make sure you bring this as an assistance for your next hour of infestation. Alright, that's the description, this whole thing. And here are the skills. The first is the imitating rifle, which is the same as the Wasp drone. This drone can deal high damage at medium range. The drone fires either with the robot or independency of the robot. And I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, this should mean the drone can either fire it automatically or because if I decide that, there should be like a little option, like if you click on the skill, there would be a little toggle if the drone should fire automatically or fire with the robot. 3,500 damage, 600-meter range. This is to go with the Tesla gun, the Tesla guns Drizzle, Typhoon, and Gigavolt, but also could work good with the Shifang, Laming, and Feng Bao. 2.5-second reload, additional damage. This drone increases the damage output of the robot, affects blah blah blah. 9%. So on high damage fix. It may not make any sense, but this drone was pretty difficult to work with. And that's going for any future drones I show. Of all the concepts I've worked on, drones are the hardest things to try and make work. If the robot receives more than 100,000 damage within 3 seconds, repairs a portion of its durability immediately. 50,000 repairable durability with a 5-second cooldown, you know that. And here's its unique skill, Infestation. And this is what makes the parasite completely unique. I might completely rework this someday, but you guys can tell me if you think this works or I should rework it. The drone's weapons that inflict robots' weapons that inflict DOT damage are increased, just like Media Neuron, the legendary pilot. The dot damage is also increased. When maxed, this can block opposing drones' abilities for a short time. What that essentially means is that if this drone is maxed out, if this, which I probably should remove the max because this is its last skill, and for you to have that last skill, the drone needs to be level 12, and you can only get that if you invest all microchips and use an upgrade token for the final level. So I might get rid of this. But this little tidbit essentially means that there's a chance that if you damage a robot that has a drone, it may prevent them from using their effects for a short duration, which I did. Again, forgot to lay it, but yeah, 15% more damage on the main weapons. Might need to lower that down, but also 30% more damage for the DOT. Overall, that's the Parasite drone, and hope you guys like it. Signing out. Think that's it. So that is the event overview for the Forgotten Factory, featuring one of my top 5 favorite concepts. Also, along with being a full-on event. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about these. If there's any stats you think I should change, just like the previous episode. Like I said, don't try and nerf them to the ground like Pixonic does. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.